I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our
Today we're watching Rezero, Season 1, Episode 14. I'm stupid. I saw a dog with a bald head and pet it anyway, and now I'm sick.
Yeah.
Sucks. I should have learned.
Learned better.
I actually, I really liked last episode. It was uncomfortable, I know, but the writing was really interesting and really good, and I felt glued to the TV in a weird way.
It was the perfect uncomfortability, honestly, because you have a character that went through something horrible that you don't even want to personally imagine for yourself having to go through that. And I think that this reactionary ending from Subaru made sense to me for the frustration and ending up being a little bit vindictive when it's not being appreciated and how much you've put into something, but also the possibility of getting maybe a little bit too comfortable with the idea that you can have access to information that other people in the world don't have.
But also that, but sidebar, what that means to Amelia for who Amelia is right now and Subaru's lack of awareness of what Amelia knows. Obviously, he knows that she doesn't know everything, but from what he said actually out loud to her, that warranted a justified response from her.
Oh, yeah. Her response was golden, perfect for, I would probably not have handled it as nicely as she did.
Dude, I don't know where we go from here because last episode, watching it, there are so many times I'm like, oh, if we go through the same type of plot as we did previously, here are a lot of different opportunities that Subaru could do something different. But I don't think, or I'm not confident that that's the way that the story's going to go right now.
Right, we really don't think that, I'm kind of torn between, does he waste a life here and try to end this one and start over? I don't
Will he be killed in his sleep right now and he is just woken up and now he gets another shot? I don't know.
How will he handle if he doesn't restart?
It's a good question. I don't know. I'm kind of ready to figure it out, but I'm nervous.
Nervous too. I'm really honestly a little bit
I'm not
scared.
Gonna lie though. This is I'm really into ReZero right now, and last episode helped me.
Mm-hmm.
But without further ado, are you ready?
Yes.
Sweet.
I don't want to rewatch the ending of
Oh,
last
I do.
episode.
I want it. Give it to me.
I do.
The whole 3-minute bit.
Oh no. I wonder how he feels about himself now. Playing the villain.
Protected. New intro?
Stop.
Let's get it.
It feels scary and dark.
Same band?
That was canon experience that we can't undo.
We're taking a turn and I love it. Cruise fights?
So why did he choose to do it?
He is. Reinhardt looks like a sad puppy. I'm glad some things never change. Rem's amazing. The candidates.
It's like public.
Mr. Appa.
She's working there.
Even though she helped save a kid. Damn. That was ominous.
You can't understand
Oh.
if she doesn't tell you. So hard to watch him get like worked up and like talk the way he's talking to the people that have like a care and a friendship with him.
Yeah.
I like the business attire.
I like Krush.
I know, she's awesome.
Is it Felix or
They
Felix?
keep switching it. X or S.
Damn.
For some reason, I thought they might not be able to get married because they're like in a covenant with the dragon.
Yeah.
The exception.
Word travels fast. Good lines.
An insignificant enemy. I like that. Ominous feeling to that. Wow. Ominous words to go with the ominous energy.
When it's
Nice.
like something only I can do, my mind jumps to return by death,
And
right?
we're supposed to feel uncomfortable with that, like,
Possibility on the
resolve.
table.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel good.
Damn.
Abandon the option to get stronger. It's like taking the easy way out.
Yeah. It is.
The candidates are also public now.
And there's that hate for anybody related to the witch, or seems to be.
No. No. This is... I don't like this.
You're making this worse for Amelia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let him make his own conclusions, you know? Let him do it.
Very grave.
God, the shaky cam's making me nervous. Oh, it's getting shakier.
I don't like this. In the best way, I don't like this.
The white whale.
He's gonna put Rem into danger.
Ram didn't even mean to let us know. It's just gonna be a full surprise.
No! God, I'm so frustrated by him right now.
We are becoming repetitive. We need to let him cook, okay? Let the author cook.
Repetitively frustrated. Let him cook.
Let the author cook.
He needs to simmer down. That's what he needs to do.
Aww. Look at how tired he is. I like how Subaru just sleeps in those clothes, too.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I'm nervous.
Uh-huh. That's the only reason. Hopeless.
We're almost like putting him to sleep. Oh no.
You have
I feel
been.
really bad for Otto.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, Mr. Person that's only going to be in one episode. Hi. Hi. Oh my god.
Is it one person seeming like many, or is it many people?
They like bowed to him, right?
Do you think they bowed to him or like his presence, like the witch's presence?
Why is there smoke?
Why are the credits going?
Why is it quiet?
Why are the credits going?
Is everyone, was that a person like asleep? Oh, is he walking in blood?
Fuck. Okay, that was ReZero, Season 1, Episode 14. A couple things. Because of the nature of the show and the ability that Subaru has, I am left in a spot where I am unsure how to feel in terms of permanence and severity. Um, Specifically, of course, in regards to Rem. Is this something that would lead Subaru to immediately end his life in hopes that he could figure out a different way to do things? Or is this like actually Rem just got killed from, it seems like the people who initially attacked her village in Ram's village, right?
Yeah, yes, definitely the same people, the witches people. I think what we're getting here is a reason for Subaru to restart, but not for himself. If he had restarted and said out loud his secret and died, any time up until this moment, it would have definitely been for himself. It would have been to undo Amelia being mad at him. It would have been, I'm going to try to make her understand where I'm coming from. There would have been it charged in a more selfish, negative energy. And I think now the character is being given a window here to decide to almost possibly sacrifice their life on purpose and possibly permanently, because he doesn't know for sure that he'll wake up every single time. And so here he'd be selflessly deciding, yes, this is the only thing that I can do. This is the thing that I can do. And it is the only thing that could possibly save her life right now. This person that he's walking up, mumbling her name. And so now the character has been given an opportunity to start over.
Yes and no, because would it truly be selflessly if he did it now? Would it not be just a forced means of doing what he has continued to do and make things about himself and do things for his own emotions and feelings when Rem specifically asked him to stay still, don't leave, don't follow me. He did so, saw her dead body. If he chose to end his life now and went back a bit in time and redid things for the sole purpose of saving Rem's life, would that defeat the purpose of him learning why he should do things differently, other than at the cost of something so severe as Rem's life? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely you're playing with this idea of what is good for him and what is good for him to do, like selflessly. Like if you were even to think at this point about going back in time, and where would that point even be, and what would the current minded Subaru think would be something to change in order to change the future, he'd probably try to not have a fight with Amelia and convince her to let him go back immediately. If he stays on good relation with Crush and Felis, then he could get their help somehow to, because Crush specifically says to him that as long as I am under this contract with Amelia, I will protect you.
Yeah.
And so that there's some playing there. There's some
like a
room
way
to
that we
play.
could try to get there with Crush without breaking that contract.
Yes.
For her military or fighting help.
Yes. And so I definitely, there is this like really interesting kind of give and take that's happening here of like, okay, is it necessarily good for him in being like a healthy person and actually the nice, sweet Subaru and selfless Subaru that we've known all along that parallels the conversations he had with Amelia when he first met her about that back and forth of, oh, I'm only doing this so I get this thing in return. But we all know that's not true. Yeah.
I have a lot of questions in regards to the group of people attacking. Because on one hand, it definitely resembles the weapons of the people who attacked Rem and Ram, who resemble the people who surrounded and then bowed to Subaru that could have been leaving the mansion.
Like, we already did our business. Yeah. Goodbye.
And, like, so I have a couple of questions. Number one, would Roswaal have taken up this role of sponsoring Amelia if he did not have the knowledge and ample ability to be able to deal with such a threat? And
that's a really great question.
Like, if it's just Amelia, Ram, Betty, and Roswaal in a mansion, could they not have handled this threat? Are they more powerful than them?
I feel like Roswaal, unfortunately, while he's a leader or has a territory, I think that with his goal, he would definitely be more selfish in protecting his desire to defeat the dragon by maybe we trap Amelia inside Betty's library, you know?
Yeah.
And yes, we sacrifice the village and the territory, but to Roswaal and his goal, that might be like an okay sacrifice, an okay thing to sacrifice.
Maybe, but like that's the people that you're hoping are behind you the most. So like in earlier episodes, that Subaru was praised for keeping the village because that spoke a lot on Roswell's person in general.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Roswaal does seem like a character that's like pretty confident in the position that he's in. He seems suspicious, definitely, and wary, definitely. He's also intrigued by the idea of like fun things he couldn't necessarily predict, which is like Subaru's character. And so I would find it odd that he wouldn't have a sense that something like this would happen. And I think that's what you're getting at. Like, yeah. So by the fact that Ram didn't purposefully send this message to Rem,
that does bode bad for the severity, I feel. Because if she intentionally made it so Rem couldn't see it, then I would assume that her reason for doing that was because she thought Rem could get hurt from it.
It's either Roswaal knew he had some sort of plan of how things would work out, and so he didn't want Subaru and Rem involved.
Yeah.
Or Ram didn't necessarily mean to send it because didn't want Rem to come. There's a lot of that. I have
hell, they don't. Amelia and Roswaal maybe not even are here. Like what if they like saw it coming and
already fled or something?
And fled elsewhere.
It's possible the village didn't want to flee because this was their home and they wanted to try to fight, and Roswaal couldn't talk them out of it. I mean, they could feel emboldened by the fact that we've already survived and, you know, our home's been protected once and now we're going to protect our homes ourselves. Like, emboldened by the fact that Subaru selflessly ran into this situation and saved their kids. They might be like, now it's our turn to protect our people and our place. And maybe they chose to stay and stand their ground. It's possible. But in terms of, like, restarting and how to fix this in a way, I'm not trying to talk about the emotional side where where we'd be talking about, is this a good choice
Yeah,
for
yeah.
him in terms of like selfish, selfless.
Yeah.
I'm more talking about like actually changing narratively things that are happening. I think the best thing that Subaru could do, while I'm curious by the beginning dialogue about why Julius chose to like hurt his career by fighting Subaru.
So how far back are you talking?
I'm talking I don't know. I guess I'm talking about before Subaru goes to the castle.
Okay, before the selection.
Yeah. And I'm thinking something that could be pivotal is that to undo is fighting Julius, because that weakened his gate even more.
Yeah.
And I think that even probably made him have to stay longer to be healed.
Yeah.
So in terms of like shortening the time so he's there before the attack even happens, don't fight Julius.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy to think about, like,
What?
the domino effect of even leaving the house with Rem to go to the castle in the first place and get that ride with Priscilla. Like, if that doesn't happen, the past few episodes don't happen. Everything's changed.
We could still have a friendship with Krush, though, because we are still being healed and left to be healed
By Felix.
Felix. I know.
Okay, so I'm gonna go Felix
it was like an
because
S some of the time and an X some of the
so
time.
I'm gonna go with Felix, and I could be wrong here, but at least in this episode, it showed me that the ones closest to Felix refer to Felix as Felix, and it might be Felix, and that's what others refer to Felix as. But I'm just gonna go by. It seems like Krush and Felix are pretty close. Krush calls Felix.
Could also be dialect of different territories and
Could be.
areas. Who knows?
But Felix.
So I think Krush is like a really...
Krush is awesome.
Oh, this is... Honestly, I'm like... That's where I'm like honing in my attention of like... Become... So Krush has a line that I wrote down because I really liked it.
Oh
it's
my
like,
God,
I don't
yeah.
want to view you as an insignificant enemy. So it's like everyone around Subaru, even the people that were mad at him for what he said at the castle or probably would have looked down on him, are all intrigued by him. They
Yeah.
all have some amount of care, where there's this balance here between like politics and I have to be harsh or I have to like put a distance between us, but still like they have hearts. They are people and they like don't want you to do stupid things.
Yeah.
Like they will fight you on the battlefield in a duel if that is what it comes to, but they don't want to like be at odds all the time. Like they want to have civil conversations. They have hearts. And when he has that coldness to her when she's like telling him about the contract, where he like acts like, I thought we were like getting along. I was so frustrated.
See your motives, or
I was like,
Subaru is in a pretty privileged position and lucky position himself, in like considering like, oh, Amelia did form a contract with another priestess who has well above the means to take care of you, and is offering advice to you in private, right? And like you might not 100% agree with it, but at least like see where they're trying to come from.
Krush doesn't even need to tell, like, I know Rem's the one that sensed it, but Krush doesn't need to have this sit down with Subaru to explain the situation and kind of say in subtlety that, you know, like right now I can protect you. You just have to there's ways that you can it's almost like Krush was reaching out a hand.
Yeah.
Being like, there are ways that you can use your current situation. And it's like he couldn't see it. Oh, you have a perfect line pulled up right now. When your eyes are clouded, your soul darkens.
I wanted to read this whole bit. Yeah.
Yes.
So when your eyes are clouded, your soul darkens. That means your future is closed to you and you lose sight of your reasons to live. When you do what you know to be right, what can you do by looking downward? Lift your head, face forward, and reach out your hands. I do not want to regard you as an insignificant enemy.
It's like there's definitely
So
some
good.
like, because Subaru is so working on emotions and reactionary right now, I don't think he ever actually processed the words that Krush said to him. Everything she says to him feels so purposeful to like tell him of his situation, but also try to get across her actual feelings on the matter, what guidelines she will work within, what he can do.
It
from here.
it almost feels like in Subaru's mind, his feelings are front forward, and everybody else, unless they agree with him, don't understand his feelings or what he's trying to say. Whereas I'd object and say perhaps everybody else at least has some idea of what you're feeling, and what they're responding to you with is their version of their help and them trying to be insightful and helpful, but it's not exactly agreeing with everything Subaru says, so he has issue with it.
So, like, how could he sit there, other than being so clouded, and hear people, and multiple times in this episode, genuinely be like, you need to make up with Amelia? Like, why would they recommend you do that unless they actually cared about her to some extent, or cared about you to some extent?
Yeah.
Like, they're inserting themselves into your business to some degree and giving you advice, though you're not necessarily asking for it.
They're not getting anything out of it.
And they're not getting... What would they get out of you having a good relationship with Amelia?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I don't know. There were a couple lines that Subaru had. Again, apologies for my voice. There's a couple lines that Subaru had with the Appa guy that I thought were really interesting, because that when the whole conversation of the prejudice that Amelia faces came up, and Subaru turned it around and said, I can't understand if you don't tell me. I think initially, like, I'm like, okay, yeah. But then I'm also like, okay, Amelia has dealt with this her entire life, presumably. It is her fucking, like, business to tell. And I don't think she was intentionally not telling you about this prejudice, but because of how multifaceted and complex this inner political working of this, like, and the immediacy of what's going on, this election, it is not... She has much more important things to be, like, thinking about.
Why is she going to explain something to you that everyone else in this world knows?
Yeah. She doesn't know you're not from this world.
Exactly. Because what happens, that first conversation we ever had, the first life, that never happened. Where she finds out he's from some other place, and she tells him her name's Satella.
Yep.
And we have that weird interaction of, like, that weird interaction where it's known that he is not from here and doesn't know the rules of this world.
He gets killed and on the verge of death if he tries to unveil his return to life, or return by death, not if he says that he's from a different world, presumably, right?
Yeah, and it's just so interesting, the complexities here of, like, she didn't tell him something that to us, if we actually think about the world, would be something you wouldn't feel like you would have to talk about, because it's like an unspoken, uncomfortable thing, which is the prejudice against half-elves. Because of their connection to the witch.
I feel so bad for Amelia. Not only is she dealing with that in public opinion, and she's front and center stage, she's also being currently assaulted and attacked by people who also attack demons. Like, the
possible witches people, or witches supporters.
Yeah, who are coming at Amelia probably because she isn't actually a witch and is apparently, I don't know, could be some fucking, like, risk to them. But it's like Amelia's getting attacked by both sides and needs more than anything support, and not another, like, cog in her wheel at the moment. Question, do you think that there's any, like, crossover between Amelia and demons, or demons and witches, that would make this group of people want to seek out Rem and Ram as well as Amelia? Because that's,
it's possible that they're, like, bonus points for killing.
And also, do you think that these beings these people attacking are able to control that, like the fog and the white whale? That seems like pretty convenient timing to block people's like fast route to the castle.
Definitely. It's so that no help can come. It's very intriguing, because at the moment, if I try to, like, think about what would be this group's reason for wanting to attack or kill Amelia, other than that kind of warning we got from the Appa stand guide to Subaru about, like, don't say the word witch too loudly, because, like, you don't know who's watching you and who's listening, and that definitely is, like, foreshadowing to, like, what ends up happening by the end of the episode, the witch's people. So my only idea at the moment, my only, like, theory of why the witch's people would want to kill Amelia is that idea of like, I don't want anyone to fear this person that's not actually that as me, that's not actually
Yeah.
me. Like it's like offensive. Like I'm gonna get rid of this person and show you who I truly am. The witch took down this half elf that you thought might be her or something.
Doesn't it make you in hindsight feel even worse for Amelia that she was willing to tell somebody her name right off the bat was Satella? Like how much shit how must have she gotten to like be at the point in her life that she's willing to just say that her name's Satella?
To like gauge a reaction, yeah.
Like that's so fucking sad.
That really was, honestly, putting it into context,
Yeah.
that was a big move of like testing if this person was someone that she could possibly have an actual real relationship with that wouldn't treat her a certain way or have this like certain reaction to her. But I also see that it doesn't seem like a lot of the other characters we're currently interacting with have that distaste toward her.
Yeah.
I know Priscilla might make it seem like it possibly in the last episode, but I also think that like deep down Priscilla seems like the type of character who would actually like you.
So what it seems like to me is that whether it's Krush or Priscilla or Anastasia, it's not that they have that potentially like of, oh, they could like Amelia. I think it's that they just don't have the prejudice against her, whereas everybody else does. Like, I think it could go, like, which kind of says a lot. Like, Krush, I think, could go either way in terms of Amelia. Like, oh, she's going to be my enemy, or she's going to be my friend. But that's already a step up from the majority of people who are immediately writing her off because of the shape of her ears.
There is no way that she would have been allowed in this selection, or that any of the other candidates would have been, like, okay with it, other than the fact that, like, oh, they might seem like they're not okay with it, because it's just another person against them for the ending of being queen.
Yeah.
Competition. So it that is interesting that I feel like we do have a lot of characters that actually don't dislike her for the reasons maybe the general public would, by hearsay or gossip, dislike her.
Yeah.
Honestly, gossip is gonna be like Amelia's like worst enemy in terms of like trying to be queen.
What do you think of Julius this episode?
I am really curious, especially when they put it in the context that like that hurt him in his career to do this.
Yeah.
And Felix is like, you definitely did this for Subaru for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so true, because Julius does seem more like a he's like the poster child of the Knights. Like, it's not like he's going to jump into action that's going to hurt him. He's going to be like calm, cool, collected, and calculated.
He is such an epitome of what a knight should be that he's willing to risk his knighthood to truly show what a knight should do.
And it's interesting because we know that Julius also cares about Amelia, like,
yeah,
and doesn't think negatively of her. So maybe what he's doing here is trying to be like, to wake Subaru up to like, hey, if you want to stand, doesn't he say something like, don't you want to stand by her side or something like that? It's like everyone in the universe is like, hey dude, like, we hear you, we get that you want to stand by her side, we think that she wants you there too.
Yeah,
but there's some walls that are happening that you need to get through in order to do that and actually be helpful to her.
There were a lot of conversations that he had in like directly with Subaru before they got to the battlefield, where he was asking Subaru very direct questions that I think were pretty that allowed Subaru the room and space to answer and reaffirm who he is to Amelia. But because of Subaru's current emotional state and how he's just kind of like one track minded at the moment, he wasn't able to do any of that and ended up kind of embarrassing himself and then Amelia because of it. Like I actually like, I like Julius in a weird way. Like I think that I can totally easily see that he isn't like malicious. You know, it's
like this current Subaru is acting more like this is a video game and he's the main character in the last couple episodes, of like not truly processing or connecting with the people that are in the room with him and that are trying to have meaningful conversations. He's not actually like understanding their words that they're telling him, which I think a lot of them are being very obvious or honest, at least in their maybe a more polite way that they might be speaking. I mean, didn't you feel something when Wilhelm was like, we're not practicing, I don't want to like teach someone who doesn't want to get stronger or something.
Yeah.
I was like,
I know. Wilhelm's so cool.
It's interesting that he's von Austria, right? And
Yeah,
so is
yeah.
Reinhard. But Reinhard, maybe it's like two halves of the family because Wilhelm serves Krush.
I wonder if it's more like specific to the individual, like something previously happened in between Wilhelm and the Krush family. You know, maybe his wife even came from that family.
Maybe the main von Austria family is back in Krush, and Reinhard is just like, I'm paving my own path.
I felt so bad for Reinhard. He
I
looked like
did
such a little
too.
puppy. And I also felt really bad for Otto. I feel like he has to come back into the story. He was like I would have laughed and like had a joy if that character of Otto was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'll take all your shit and run away. But he was like, no, I can't do that. Come back, Subaru. Come back, Natsuki. You know, I was like, oh, I need to see him again.
Well, I don't know if we'll see him again, except maybe a little cameo.
Yeah.
Depending on how we try to redo everything.
I'm nervous though.
I feel like, okay, so here's a question for you. Does Subaru stop here and try to restart, or does he maybe try to learn more information and then do it?
So
because we've only found Rem's body.
Dude,
there are other people involved.
If I'm completely honest, and I applaud the story for it, I have no fucking clue. Because like it's like what I said in the beginning of the discussion, I don't know how to feel right now because with how the past episode is gone, that leads me to believe that he won't try to restart, even though the language in this episode suggested that he would. And then I'm like, okay, but if he doesn't try to restart, then Rem's dead. There's no way that they'd kill off Rem. She's fucking, like, amazing. She's the best.
See, yeah. It's tough. At least in my feeling, I'm like, okay, well, the story's just trying to have it that if the restart happens and it's by his volition to restart, it has to be for a reason to save someone else.
Yeah, but I mean, it already would have been in his mind. Like, Subaru, before this even happened, when he was talking to Rem, was like, Amelia just needs to realize that I can save her. Like, I'm going to save her. I'm going to save the day. That's it. Which is such a, like, I don't know. It's so interesting. When every time he said that, you and I were, like, recoiling back in our chairs. Like, because
I think, honestly, this situation that I'm so sorry, I bumped the mic. In this situation he's getting into, I think there's going to be a realization. I think he 100% or to some degree knows how strong Rem is in comparison to him. That seeing Rem dead, and then also once he goes back or restarts, I think that hopefully there will be an awareness within him that, yes, what he has in this world can be helpful, but it is not the sole thing that is needed to protect Amelia.
Yeah. And
that having help from other strong, capable individuals and bolstering support, because how are you going to hear how people view Amelia and then not want to like make everyone love her and want to protect her and run in to save her with you? You know, don't you want to show her that other people want to save her and support her other than yourself?
I can be totally off base here, but it feels like Subaru's lost a little bit of his way in terms of Subaru's superpower in this world isn't his ability to come back to life and respawn or, you know, go like try again and get a redo, nor is it his ability to say the word shamak and make a big smoke grenade. I don't know. I think it's like his temperament and his mentality and his belief and positivity and assurance that like and
try hard
like,
attitude.
That's what makes him like a great like main character in my book. And I'm so intrigued that how many episodes are we in? We're only 14 episodes in, and we're coming to a point that I don't know if this early in I've seen a main protagonist like tested this hard. It feels like like if you're watching like a video of any type of review, I'm going to use like laptops at this point, right? And you're just reviewing like a laptop face value, you're like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. But then in this show, it's like somebody's taking the bezel or the chassis of the laptop and like bending it to see like if it'll break. It seems like somebody's stress testing Subaru's like character.
That's a great way to put it.
It's so bizarre and interesting and refreshing to watch. Like I'm having like the time of my life with the show right now.
I love that you put it like that this ability to restart and try again in terms of like dying and being reborn isn't necessarily his power in this world, nor is this shamok smoke grenade, as you put it. He is a character that we are immediately introduced to as having a scary look, being intimidating or not very warm to the initial eye of looking at him. His face, his eyes are a specific way where he doesn't seem like the most warm, open person that you can immediately go and approach. And then we get this actual change where we get him making this a face, you know, that is scary and is intimidating. But even though he has this look about him that doesn't make people want to immediately open their arms to him, it's his heart and his attitude that has opened all of these people, and we see most of them in this episode. That have been opened to Subaru and care about him because of what he has put forth into the world, in his smile, his can-do attitude, his personality, his heart. Like that is his power, is his ability to create these relationships with other people in this world, and therefore can maybe be the best thing he can do for Amelia is help create these bridges and relationships with her to the public, her to these powerful figures, you know?
Yeah. I have one more thing. I didn't write it down or anything. It's just like a thought. I am loving this show and appreciating the show in a way that I never expected I would for like after the first 4 or 5 episodes. I don't care. In one regard, I don't care where they go or what happens. I'm just super interested to see what happens and then talk about why it happened and like what the ramifications are. No pun intended. I would love to just I'm just enjoying watching it. I don't know. I really like it. You know, I don't watch TV or anime or movies because like I project myself onto a character or because I want them. I have preconceptions in my mind of what I want this to be about or want what to happen. I'd like to watch what's given to me and watch the work, and then sure I can pass judgment if that's what's asked of me, but I just like consuming this kind of content, and like I like things that are different too. It's really cool. I'm enjoying it a lot. I think that it's really interesting if somebody told me if you asked me to tell somebody the premise of Rezero 14 episodes in or even 10, I think one of my first things that I'd go to is like every time he dies, he's brought back to a point earlier in his life. And it seems like that would be a very flashy thing to say, or, you know, that's the thing to grab onto. But the lack of them using it, or when they use it, the diversity in the ways that they use it and how they change Subaru's character with it is so cool, man. It's super cool.
I agree. I appreciate shows that make you feel, or shows or any media books that make you feel something and ranging of emotions. Obviously recently it's been very uncomfortable, very frustrated feelings, pit of your stomach feelings, without it being so surface level of like oh look, we just did something but it's not that deep, but it like automatically makes you feel uncomfy. There's a depth to, and it's almost like a slow grow, like, ooh, my stomach kind of feels weird about what just happened.
Part of me wonders if they'd ever go in a route that's like, we saw so many opportunities of things that could have been done differently, right? What if Subaru, his character does, it doesn't have to, of course, but what if it does take like a turn of like, okay, I need to be better about this kind of thing and make sure I'm making the decision that's not only best for me, but for other people. And then what if it goes even further and he starts overcompensating? What if like he is so over analytical and cautious of each interaction? It's like, fuck, I could have said something differently that would have made that person like happier or, you know, and then he just like overreacts.
a lot
restarts
of
there.
ways. Yeah,
It's super cool.
it so reminds me of playing like Fire Emblem or something.
For you.
And like when you have the ability to, in like more recent games,
Oh yeah, go back.
to go back. And sometimes I'll go back.
Wait, okay, can we explain it really quick? So in
Okay.
Fire Emblem, so I'll try my best to, because I haven't kept up with the games really.
Yeah.
But I tried this one, Fire Emblem Engage, and it's almost like anime 3D chess for somebody who, like, I think it's not a 1-for-1 at all, but I think that's a broad comparison. And for every move you make in this game, you are given, let's say for just argument's sake, 5 times throughout this game of chess that you're able to rewind your moves to a certain extent and then replay the battle going forward with subtle changes to your battle. So like that, so that's the premise that you're referring to.
And what it reminds me of is when I'm playing, I don't like anyone to die. Anyone. But sometimes you gotta sacrifice one to actually finish the battle and win, or you'll be playing until you die in real life. But sometimes I will like want to save one character so bad that I will use that rewind, and then multiple characters will end up dying in the next like round.
God, it's such a good comparison because like imagine if that was actually real life and you had to go through the actual pain and emotional toll of those characters die. You're just super
like, oh, in that time I didn't give this person a vulnerary and up their health, and I moved that guy over there, but there's archers over there, shoot. Like it just reminds me of playing a game like that.
But like you're just like, it's so easy to remind us of a game, but I know it's just an anime, but fuck, like considering like what this character like has been through, it's like untreaded waters and unknown territory in terms of like what his mental is currently. And that's why I'm so like interested in seeing how he actually feels and what, how he's affected by this shit.
Yeah, I love how even though it's frustrating, how much I can understand and make sense of why he is being so frustrating right now, because obviously I am not in his shoes, but I know as a person, if I was landed into a situation like this in a world that I was not from as well, and had to continue to go through pain or see people die, I think I would react in some unsavory ways.
So if they never do anything in terms of like in terms of Subaru changing his mentality, right? And that's the decision that the author goes with forward. And depending on how it played out, what would be your reaction? Because I talk a lot, especially in the discussions, of the notion of Subaru potentially growing from this. But if it is in another direction, again, I have no preconceptions of like what I would like or dislike. I think it would be very different, and it would be harder for me to imagine writing if they went down a path where Subaru actually is right and everybody else, it would be an interesting route to try to like. It seemed like it would be more difficult to dodge bullets if you went down that route.
I think it also might be harder to I think both could be hard. I think it could also be hard to bring back Subaru's sunshine with it seeming like growth, and not just seeming like the writer was like, "Ooh, I'm done with him being like moody right now.
But what if that's the point?
Sunshine." Like
one thing that I can say after this episode is that, surprisingly enough, 14 episodes in, I don't need Subaru to be a ray of sunshine to be into this show or the world that it's giving me, because I love so many other characters and I'm so interested in like the process of what's going on that it would be an interesting road to go down.
You need to maybe not a ray of sunshine, but definitely not someone who picks fights with all of his friends.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, that's all I do.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.